One of the best documented and enduring UFO stories of Canada is Falcon Lake, Manitoba, in May 20th, 1967. Uh, Canadians were gearing up for centennial. We had the caravans, centennial train were crisscrossing the country. The Queen, Prince Philip were here. Our new flag was on full display. John D. Baker and Judah LaMarche, our Governor General at the time, were out in force, meeting with Canadians, and the whole world was invited. It was a big, massive party. It was our 100th birthday um, as a country, and we were going to have some fun. And it looks like someone from a distant world may have also.
There are places that you go and nothing seems to make much sense. In my experience, sat on my side of the fence, there are people who encounter things that just seem to be weird. Strange things that everybody hears. It's so strange. The world's gone crazy. It's so strange. And it ceases to amaze me.
Come to celebrate with us. East of the city of Winnepeg lies Falcon Lake. Stephen Mishlak, an industrial mechanic and amateur geologist, was out by the lake searching for quartz when he was interrupted by a gaggle of geese that began to fuss and make a large honking noise. If you've been around Canadian geese, you know exactly what that sounds like. They get pretty excited. He turned around to scan the sky to see what was going on, and he saw two flying vehicles coming towards him. One of them descended to a nearby rock, a flat rock, and landed. The other disc seemed to hover there for a moment, and then it also left the area. It flew off. The other one remained standing on the ground. He was thinking he was seeing a U.S. Experimental craft at the time, and so he sat down and sketched the object because he was seeing something very new, very exciting. This is the sketch that he did. When he was done his drawing, believing this to be an experimental craft, he approached the craft. He walked around, noting an open door and appearing completely seamless, as if the bodywork had all been done without rivets or welding, with just one piece. We know we can do that with extruded aluminum now, make almost seamless objects, so it's pretty cool. He yelled in the air, in the open door to the air, because he thought he heard murmuring of voices. Being a mechanic, he thought maybe he could help those Yankee boys out. The murmuring fell silent. He tried calling out in his native Polish, Russian, and German. Speaking four languages shows the education of this man. Plus, he was a mechanic, amateur geologist. It does show just how educated this gentleman was. Being a mechanic, geologist, they tend to be more, at least in my experience, tend to be more methodical in their observations and what they do. He had his welding glasses on to avoid quartz chips from flying in his face while he was keeping the dust out while he was digging. Yeah, that word's not going to come out today, so we're just going to make one up. He looked inside the ship, and he saw some light beams and panels of various colored lights. But he could not see anyone or detect any movement inside the ship, any living being. He had his welding gloves on that he used for while he was digging. He touched them and it actually began to melt from the heat. As he stepped back from the door, 3 panels slid across the opening and sealed, and the craft began to rotate counterclockwise. The panel he had sketched in his drawing rotated in front of him, and a blast of hot air or gas hit him in the chest, flinging him back away from the craft. It set his shirt on fire, his cap on fire, so he ripped those from his body, got them off, and the craft rose up in the air and flew off. Disoriented and feeling very ill, he stumbled back to his hotel room, vomiting the whole way along the route. He caught a bus back to Winnepeg, which is where he was from, and he went to the local hospital. He was treated for burns on his chest and on his stomach. Large red sores began to form in the area of familiar grid patterns. The familiar grid patterns, in case you are unsure what I'm talking about, if you look at a grate, a heating grate, or an exhaust grate, where they vent out air from inside buildings, or grid pattern. Which makes sense for an exhaust port. For weeks, he suffered from blackouts, headaches, diarrhea, and weight loss. As the story came out, Air Force personnel from Canada, the United States, the RCMP, and various other government agencies, no wonder who those guys were, as well as a horde of gawkers, curious people, and media, gathered on the area and on his front lawn. Even so far as the media was following his 9-year-old son Stan to school, peppering him with questions. What you're going to ask a 9-year-old about something that he wasn't even there to witness is just a case of the media looking for the story. From that day forward till he passed away at the age of 83, Mishlak said he had never said anything, should have never said anything, and he still believed he saw a government experimental craft. Of course, back in 1967, you're going to take a lot of flack. Oh, the little green men come to your house? In the pursuit, I remember that from when I was a huge UFO fan when I was a kid. I belonged to MUFON when it was a new organization. And I took a lot of flack. Oh, the little green man come and get you, Dave. In the pursuit of getting healthy again, Mishlak traveled to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. Their doctors did a Barraza test and found it to be pragmatic and very down to earth, who would not be a man who would tend to make up stories, which I spoke of earlier. So whatever actually really happened at Falcon Lake that day was an experimental craft, which I believe it was. Was a passing extraterrestrial craft. It needed some quick repairs. I believe that within 40 light years is a very doable thing for anybody to travel. Whether or not two civilizations would be at that state in the universe at the same time as our existence is debatable. There's a lot of room out there, and the universe is quite old. So one civilization rise up, die off, destroy themselves, whatever. And then we came along, and then they came along, and then, so on and so on. So I don't really have an opinion on that. I believe life can exist in many forms. Did the occupants of the ship turn those exhaust points trying to eliminate a witness? I'd like to think that the Canadian government and the U.S. government wouldn't do such a thing. It's not unheard of. If you look at many blogs about this, many stories, radioactive exhaust is mentioned, and there was molten metal found in the landing area melted down in the cracks of the rocks. And where these pieces of molten metal are a mystery, because no one seems to have them, other than the one piece that the family still possesses. I don't know if his son Stan still has it. I have no answers. I really don't. With the recent release spy pictures of the Black Mamba, a new experimental craft in the United States, looks very much like a triangular UFO. It's got 3 lights, one on each point, which are said to be either a hydrogen or a fusion propulsion system, very quiet. So, who's to say this wasn't a version of a logical expansion of the Avro car, which was very unsuccessful in the very early 60s. It would hover above the ground, but it was really hard to fly and everything. It was taken up by the American government after the Canadian government refused to fund it anymore. The Americans may have just found something that worked a lot better. They could have, a lot of people say, Roswell, we've got extraterrestrial technology, and they may have put it in this craft. What else? I have no answers. I really don't. I believe he saw an experimental craft. That's my belief. You may believe it was extraterrestrial, which is a very logical belief. Also, let me know what you think in the comments below after you hit like and subscribe, please. I'm trying to beat John for the #1 video for the other channels that we run. So we're having a friendly competition. I'll be here next Sunday. What I'm going to do is anybody's guess. I do have a lot of shows coming up, including the Titus Lake Monster, the Cabbagetown Monster, was Matt Shrek, I can't say his name, from Nosferatu, a real vampire. Will know vampire stories. Just so much that we've got to do. We're going to have fun with this channel, and I'm going to try to keep it up every week. Wednesday nights we have On the Track Extra, which is a shorter video, about 15 minutes long, that John does out of the UK, John Downs, dealing with cryptids and stuff of that genre. And then Saturdays during the day, he does a much longer show, half hour. It's more of an interview format. We will have interviews on this channel. We just haven't gotten to the point where we have had to record them yet. As I've been working on getting these stories out for you. I used the following to research this video. Many thanks to CBC Canada, who did a spot on it and made that available. When they appeared in 27 by Stan Mishlak and Chris Rutkowski, it was a pamphlet that Mishlak had written in his native Polish about his encounter. I'm trying to get a copy of it. The original English translation. I don't read Polish, unfortunately. So I would love to see that. UFOs Over Canada by John Robert Colombo, which is right here, was also used in my research. I want to take this time to thank people who have encouraged me on this channel, my family, my friends, many members of the CFZ, CFZ, yeah, Zed, sorry, I almost went American on you. No offense to my American friends, but you say Zed wrong. Just saying, you spell color wrong too. I say too much. We should have a pool. How many times I say in a video, and everybody throw $1 in or something, and the person that gets the right amount wins. I can't participate because obviously I get to watch the video before it goes up. But I'm working on that and trying to make it much better. Here's my loving wife up there in the corner. You can see her over my shoulder. It's her picture. She doesn't like to be around when I'm recording because she would go, "Oh, you're saying too much," and we'll have lots of background noise. You can hear scratching in the background. That is our cat Chance trying to get treats out of his bin. Get out of there, Chance. But I'm having a lot of fun with this channel, and I hope you're enjoying it. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.